Starting from scratch. Day 14. Oh, what a joy! An epiphany of sorts is just what's come through her. She thought maybe I was to write all along. As she'd been removing her makeup, feeling very good, having been in touch with a handful of sisters in the time leading up to closing this day and opening these pages, she thought maybe I was to write all along. She'd always had a propensity towards writing and storytelling, but not just. She loved letters, calligraphy, fonts, the art of writing, by hand, as she does just now, with a sharpened pencil never to go dull. Come to think of it, writing in cursive is like draping fabric for her, that which she does also love very, very much, the art of making clothing, the art of design. Gosh, there's so much to share just now. So much is rushing in. She was reading quite well by the time the family had left England, and she excelled in spelling. In her 6th year, she went from painfully shy to class clown. That happened to be the first year students took on public speaking or were required to do it. She wrote the most ridiculous, imaginative, hilarious speech about hanging out with her buddies from WWF. No, not the cuddly pandas and koalas, the other WWF, the World Wrestling Federation, before it was changed to WWE. The details escape her, but wrestling, Hulkamania, Randy Macho Man Savage, Roddy Rowdy Piper, and the like were all the rage. Surely she surprised as well as captivated her fellow classmates, winning the preliminary round. She hadn't won overall technically, but in her heart she did. Oddly, that never happened again. Well, not till about 20-odd years later, delivering her TED speech, but, well, that's a different story altogether. And then she went right back into her shy box in her 7th year. Ooh, okay, we digress. Back to this trail of thought on writing. Actually, how excited is she just now? Though she cannot remember much else between her 6th and her final year of high school, she recalls doing exceedingly well that last year. 2 papers stand out in her mind that her teacher went nuts over. Slightly racy was the first paper, a recollection of her summer, where one can say she was finding her womanhood, and the paper she wrote was with just enough detail so as to guide the reader down the plank of their imagination, only to take a dive into the oasis of warm and fuzziness, or so it seemed with the teacher as he read her story aloud. Her final essay was on Bram Stoker's Dracula, racy in and of itself. Oops, she did it again. But look, ultimately, she lives in her imagination and could quickly conjure up any old story right off the top of her head. Oh, she's smiling to herself just now, thinking, universe, you cheek. It was just then, it was many moments of quote-unquote just now, where she felt all the pieces falling gently into place. She was working on something which had till then, with few exceptions in time, proved incredibly tedious. That particular morning, holding on to Gus, she refused to get out of bed. In fact, she fought it. Even the sun shone for her, whence it was meant to be cloudy the entirety of the day. Finally, and begrudgingly, she got up, having to use the loo. Checking the time, it was much earlier than she thought it to be. After the loo, she went back and sat on her bed contemplating her usual morning routine, which she had become lax with all the moving about over the last months. In fact, she was lax, yes, but also knowing. knowing that at the perfect time, at the perfect space and juncture, she'd reconvene, welcoming the morning, life, God, herself, everything, at 4:44 a.m., a number she just quite liked. So back, she sat up on her bed and decided to meditate. It would be the best thing, considering her current emotional state of affairs. With the timer set, she began. Sat there seemingly quietly. After just a few moments, she opened her eyes, angry, very angry. No, just no. Back she went under the covers into fetal position, angry, yet no longer resistant. Just stare at the glass of water. That worked last time, she said to herself. That she did. Her mind still wandered, and she kept bringing her focus back to the glass. It wasn't long before she was sat up again, and this time able to meditate. From there, she held her heart and walked herself into her day, moment by moment. Part of her usual routine is some form of physical movement. Originally, she'd blown it off, but there she was in the heart of her home, a beautiful open space, becoming one with it. 5 Tibetans done, and her mood had lifted evermore. Now, she said to herself, skip everything and just work. Get onto that thing. She did, after some mild cleanup as she awaited her water to boil for a cup of the usual lemon water. While that was going, she heard her stomach call and decided rather to prepare something now than when really hungry. Though she does fast regularly, she hasn't got the intention for it this day, and more importantly, since all the moving about, she's lost touch with the very thing she views as so sacred. Food, and to an extent, her own avatar, her temple, her body. She boiled herself half a sweet potato, and whilst doing so, prepared a couple tablespoons of chia seeds in hot water with fresh lemon juice. Once plumped up, she added a pinch of salt, some nutritional yeast, olive oil, and dried basil. With the potatoes boiling, sprouts misted, and those that needed rinsing and draining done, she was sprouting broccoli, chia, flax, and beans at the time, she cleared her work table. Ready. She added notes to her whiteboard, which happens to be a fireplace with a metal covering, a perfect board on which she discovered she could use temporary markers. She was on. Breakfast was had, to which she added rocket. Delicious. Inspiration was back in full swing, and momentum had taken over. She felt great. and wanted to turn that wave into a tsunami, so she sat and did a focus wheel. The tsunami came and it enveloped her. Alignment, God, all that is. I am here and now, only here and now. On fire. She was on fire. Things were coming fast. Coffee, she made one, and the tsunami was moving faster. Even much for her. Slow down, she eased to herself. It's okay, you're here. Her document open, ready, typing away. An idea, a distraction? No, go there. Duck, duck, go. Show me this thing. It did. Duck, duck, go is an alternative for Google search engine. The tsunami was stronger yet, but gentler, in equal measure. She's been saying to herself and those keen, I am ready. I've been getting ready to be ready to be ready. to be ready. Back to where we began, about writing. The food, drawing, designing have all been her thing of late, with writing coming in the form of the odd blog or sometimes binges of blogging. But wait, hang on a second. Hang on. She did even start an autobiography at the urging of many in her mid-30s, which was quickly abandoned. At present time, it is not possible to do recipe testing for her intended cookbook. It is not possible to write the courses on vegan gourmet cooking. She's been preparing for both for some time now, but having moved into her own flat for the first time in ages, she has none of the essentials, as yet. In terms of equipment, that is, or even staple foods. She's barely even cooking, living off predominantly sprouted lentils, miso soup, and the odd chocolate treat every now and again. But look, just like that, the path has been cleared for this, for sharing a heart and this process with you. What a blessing. Here we are. Now then, tired is she, after sleeping when she'd normally be getting up. Much has changed, much, and the world continues to heal. Write your heart out, darling. Just keep writing.